This is the Ring of Honor, a.k.a. Shane T, boy, the baddest champion you ever seen, boy.
This is Mr. Anderson.
This is good old JR Jim Ross, and you are listening.
You're listening to Knockouts and 3 Counts.
Cover! We got a new world champion!
That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Knockouts and 3 Counts is the podcast, baby! It's the real deal, baby!
Knockouts and 3 Counts starts now.
Ooh, what up, though? I have survived Vegas. I don't know how I survived Vegas because Mega Ran was bound and determined to fucking kill me, and so was Fat Tuesday. But guess what? Fat Tuesday was the truth. Anyways, talking about the truth, we got the man himself, Darius, the Solo Beast, Estell, coming back to come chat with us before he takes on Ultimate Fighter Bet Joe Gianetti for Cage Titans. How you doing, brother, man?
Yo, what's up? I'm feeling good.
Hey, man, it's been a minute. You know, you were one of our best episodes on YouTube, which you can go check that out. If you hit that subscribe button, if you haven't already done so and you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And we need all the comments. We love all the interaction. So, Tom from Germany, if you're in this bitch, come on with it. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about. Like I said, Darius is going to be fighting August 28th against Ultimate Fighter Bet Joe Gianetti. I just got back from Vegas. We got Summerslam to talk about, NXT TakeOver to talk about. CM Punk is back in AEW, and Corey's going to be there to see his first match back live. There's a lot to talk about on this here show. Corey, how the fuck are you?
I'm doing good, man. Doing damn good. Another, Tuesday in the books. Honestly, man, doing good. Getting ready for watching my oldest get ready for school again. Glad the kids are going to be back in school this year. Other than that, man, it's just, getting ready. That's what this week is just getting ready for everything that comes.
So here's the thing. I don't, not that I'm going to get onto a big COVID rant. So your kids are going back to school. So they got any like crazy like rules with the whole, like, do they got to have?
We are 2 weeks out and they still have not gave any of the rules. They didn't even tell us what like school supplies and stuff, the normal school supply list that you get. We haven't even got that yet. So I don't know.
They slacking.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't tell her class or nothing. And open house I think is Monday. So yeah,
that's awesome. Well, One man who we know is not slacking is the man that is joining us right now, the man, Mr. Solo Beast. So first of all, how are you doing? How are you feeling about this fight, man? I mean, they keep bringing you out to Boston. I'm starting to wonder, do they just got like a vendetta against you? They just want to throw whoever the fuck they got. Well, fuck him. We're going to try to kill him.
I think they want revenge, man. I just come in and slay hometown heroes. I can't help it. It is what it is.
Trying to kill him.
I know.
So, and that's the thing, man. So you're talking about that. How do you feel about this matchup, man? Because, I mean, you're facing a guy who's got a wealth of experience. You know, he's fought in LFA. He's fought, obviously, for Cage Titans. He was on The Ultimate Fighter. I mean, does him having any little bit of a name, does that, change anything for you? Or, do you think with a win in this fight, I mean, do you think that maybe you're going to start getting some of these calls, bro?
Yeah, that's the plan, man. I've seen him fight. I've already beat his teammate. You know what I'm saying? I don't really give a shit. He's just like any other opponent. He's getting ready to come in here. I'm going to embarrass him in front of his hometown. A couple thousand people can watch him lose. That's what it is.
I think the promotions like that, they get stuck
it's
in
for the
a
strap,
spot.
too, so we're fighting for the belt. So we're main event belting it. So,
I was going to say, I think they get stuck in a spot when you go over to their hometown event. Not the home guy. And then you end up beating them. They're like, well, we just made a little hometown star over here in this other guy's town. We got to bring him back. It's kind of like you pulled their card type deal.
Come in, underdog, leave out top dog.
I mean, how many fights have you had for Cage Titans now? I know it's at least 2 or 3.
Quite a few times, but Cage Titans, I think this will be the second one for them. But I fought in that region quite a few times too. CFCC, ammo. Let's see. My mind goes to blank, man. I get hit all the time. CFCC, Cage Titans, ammo, and FAC.
I like it. Hey, man, all of you guys that are joining the stream, we appreciate you. We got about 10 of you guys watching live. If you got any questions for Mr. Estell or anything you want to throw out there, make sure you throw them out in the comments. But yeah, man, how do you feel about the Boston area, man? Like, you've gotten to fight over there so much. How do you like fighting over in that neck of the woods, versus, at home?
I love Boston. It's really nice. Beautiful place. A lot of good seafood. And hey, I get to meet new friends, new fans. So it's cool.
I like it. Can't complain about fresh seafood, man. That's one thing. Even being surrounded by the Great Lakes, you would think we got it like that, but we really don't, man. There's not much fresh seafood around here.
I know, right? Yeah.
So that brings up a few funny things, man. So, we had the Pacquiao fight this past weekend that went down in Vegas. Obviously, it wasn't Pacquiao versus Spence as we originally we're supposed to get, but like it with where we're at in MMA, and I guess we'll throw boxing in there with this whole Triller thing that's going down this weekend with Tyron Woodley and Jake Paul. I mean, what's your thoughts on, with you fighting this weekend? I mean, what's your thoughts on like the state of MMA? Because I feel like we're kind of going into a place where there's really going to be more fighting to be seen now than there really has been in a lot of places, because Boston's open back up. We know back here in Michigan, things are starting to open back up. The UFC never really shut down. And now you've got all these new places like PFL and ONE FC and all this stuff coming around. I mean, how are you feeling as a guy who's trying to get on one of these bigger, one of these bigger platforms? How are you feeling about the overall state of MMA right now?
I'm feeling good about it. The thing is, the UFC, a lot of the veteran guys, they were like refusing fights because of COVID. But then you got a lot of newer guys who are hungry and wanting to go there. They're getting like shots, like back to back to back. I think Cage Titan's last champion actually went to the UFC. That's why the belt we're fighting for is vacant. So I'm feeling good, man. Getting a lot of offers, a lot of calls. So it's like, I love when you win, man, because you get to pick and choose and you get to do what you want. So winners do what they want. But I'm feeling good about it.
I like it. Winners do what they want.
Yep.
So with that being said, we mentioned the fight that's going on this weekend. Where are you at with it? Do you think Jake Paul's got any chance of knocking Tyron Woodley out, or do you think Woodley's striking ability and fighting experience is going to carry him in this one?
Man, Jake Paul, he's got some skill. I won't underestimate him, but I hope Tyrone wins, honestly. We'll see.
I think all of us collectively from the MMA community hope he wins, but I don't know, man. There's a reason why they put the fight together. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's real interesting, especially the little backstage skirmish they got into last time.
Yeah. The whole fiasco. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, and that's what I'm talking about with that fight. So that's what's interesting. I guess for you as a guy who you're still working your way up to the UFC or ONE FC, a PFL, a Bellator, whichever it might be, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think if Woodley loses, do you think it looks bad on MMA? Because, I mean, with him, he's more of a striker than Ben Askren,
Yeah, but Woodley's kind of toward the end of the game. He's been on a losing streak for, a couple of years now. So I wouldn't think it looks bad. I mean, it would suck, but not really.
I feel like, yet again, trying to be the representative of the MMA community here.
Yeah.
I feel like our bubble got burst a little bit with the whole Ben Askren thing.
Oh, man, Ben Askren was never a striker, though. So
No,
really.
Never. But a lot of people still put their eggs in that basket, saying he was going to be the one. He's a former world champ. There's no way. And then he got knocked out in like a minute and 10 seconds or something. So, and it wasn't even like competitive or good or nothing about it. So I think a lot of us are just jaded on the fact that like, hey, we seen what could happen. And even though we are getting somebody with significantly better hands than the first one.
Yeah. I mean, we're hopeful. I hope Tyrone wins. Is that fight on Saturday too, or is it Sunday?
That fight's Sunday.
Oh, sweet. I'll be able to watch it. I'll fly back and watch it. Cool.
All right, Corey. Well, do you think that this one does more damage than, the Askren loss?
Yeah, it would, because they consider Tyrone a striker, and he's a former UFC champion, so it definitely does.
I see, and that's where I'm at, because, I mean, while I agree with you, that I think we all of us in the MMA community know that Ben Askren wasn't a striker. I mean, if you're from the camp of Jake Paul, to play devil's advocate, you are a smart son of a bitch, because if you look at the checklist of things that he would want to make him look credible, knocked out a former UFC fighter, knocked out a former MMA champion. And third one, and the one that most novices aren't going to look at super closely, knocked out an Olympian.
True.
So, I mean, if you're in the camp of Jake Paul, dude, y'all hit a home run because you took about the path to least resistance. It looks like you getting ready to go to sleep on us, bro.
I know, right? Let me cut the light back on, man. I was chilling, man. I had a long day of training.
I hear that. Well, tell me a little bit about that. How do you feel this camp's gone, man? I mean, like I said, as before we go live, I mean, I just got back from Vegas and got to train a little bit with one of your teammates and past guest of the show, Cody Stamen. Again, that's why you guys need to hit subscribe. But yeah, man, tell me about this camp. And do you feel like there's any new wrinkles, or do you think it's just another day in the office?
It's another day, man, another opponent. Fuck him, fuck his record, fuck his pedigree. I don't care what he's done. I don't care how hard he's training. It won't be enough. So yeah, I'm ready. Another guy.
I like that.
That's the soundbite. End the interview. That's soundbite. He said, "Fuck him, fuck his camp, fuck his growth. He's still losing." That's the soundbite. That's the soundbite. So when you follow us at KO3C Pod, as you should be doing, you'll be seeing that pretty soon. I got a feeling.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit that.
Let's see. My favorite Sparty. Oh, Kathy coming in the clutch again. Twisted tumblers. If you ain't got one, get you a twisted tumbler. She made us those dope ass cups for knockouts and 3 counts. She made them for Darren. Bobby got some, and I'm assuming that there should be some for Mr. Solo Beast at some point, man. Them cups are dope. Like I said, man, shout out to Kathy. If you guys haven't gotten one, make sure you check out Twisted Tumblers. All right, so to take it off the fight a little bit. You've told us before that you liked some things in wrestling. Do you remember the Brood? Edge and Gangrel and them back from the 90s. It was Edge, Christian, and Gangrel back when they back before Edge was kind of doing like the rated R deal and all that.
I'm not that old, man. I was still a little kid in the 90s. I don't know.
Me too, fool. I was only 6 or 7, but I didn't know if you was watching back then. That's why I asked.
Like Stone Cold and The Rock Day. I don't know. Like
man. Dude, we're going to have to talk about that Brood entrance in a little bit because, man, I thought you might knowing that you came from the Attitude Era because, man, him coming up out the fire at SummerSlam might have been the best moment of the whole damn show.
Well,
but
I did get the eyebrow from The Rock. Yeah, I can raise both eyebrows.
Hey, man, there you go. See, he's already electrifying both with his hands and now his eyebrow. Watch out, Cage Titans. But that brings up another question. So we've seen the return of the Beast. Brock Lesnar has made his return to wrestling and now is sporting a man bun. I don't know what the fuck's going on right now, but Brock Lesnar is sporting a man bun. What are your thoughts on him coming back to MMA? The reason I asked that is because, or to pro wrestling. The reason I ask is because I was listening to MMA Today, which you can check past guests of the show and the homie Ryan McKinnell out on Sirius XM, free plug for them. But my question being, because they were talking about the difference in now CM Punk coming back to wrestling versus Brock going to UFC and then coming back to wrestling. First of all, what are your thoughts on those kind of things? Do you think like it's a real big what do you want to call it? Real big hit on CM Punk that he came in there and lost like that? And do you think that it's right? And do you think it solidified Brock by coming over there and winning the belt?
Yeah, it showed a lot. I do, because Brock came in, he was successful. He became a world champion. CM Punk, maybe he just got in over his head, man. You don't know the training camps that they went through, but yeah, definitely. Brock always has like this killer mentality on him. As far as CM Punk's more so like a nice guy, it seems. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, I mean, with Punk, I mean, for me, obviously, I'm a little biased being a wrestling fan too, but my thing was I never really went into it thinking, okay, CM Punk's going to go over to the UFC and he's going to just like start a UFC career. Yeah. I saw this from the jump as this is a guy who's always been an MMA enthusiast. He trained, and here's the thing people like don't realize. The dude was training like jiu-jitsu and stuff like that while he was wrestling. He was using that as different ways for him to train to keep his body limber and things like that. But I mean, the guy never said, I'm going to go over there and you know what I mean? Like, he literally said, like, this is just something I've always wanted to do. You know, I finally have the time to actually be able to train enough that I could fight. I feel like more people have an issue because a guy like you who's out here grinding and working to try to make a name for himself, and then you got a guy like that just makes his way into the UFC. So what are your thoughts on that?
It's not always, you know, how hard you work or what you do. Is who you know, man. And he made a name for himself in the wrestling industry. So, I mean, hey, I can't knock it. You know, it worked for him.
Yeah,
I respect it. Just kind of wondered what. Go ahead.
I respect it. You know, he's a celebrity. Like I intend to do something similar later down the line with the film industry. But you know, so by all means, look at Dwayne Johnson. He did it. He used wrestling, came into the film industry.
Look at Cena now.
Huh?
Look at Cena now. He just did Suicide Squad.
Yep. So if you got a way to cut the red tape, then by all means do it. Because I intend on doing it too. So for me to shit on someone else who did it, great. You know, I won't do that. But you know, it is what it is.
What were you gonna say, Corey?
Honestly, I lost my point.
Look at Jake Paul too. Jake Paul, he's fighting for like $20 million. He just fought in his third fight. So I won't knock it. I mean, damn, is it fair? No, but life's not fair. So it is what it is.
You reminded me of my point. Actually, it's what you bring to the table in the aspects of all things in the
So
the
I'll never knock someone else's hustle, man. But you know what I'm saying, it'll be my turn soon enough.
Yeah, it is what it is kind of situation more than anything, you know.
And that's a very good point. That's a very good point, dude. Because that's the thing with CM Punk, right? Because I was listening to a lot of people saying, holy shit, like, why was there such a pop when he came back on Friday? Well, again, it's what he brings to the table when we're speaking about the wrestling end of things. Yep. That guy made so many differences in his time in wrestling and changed so many things. Mm-hmm. That's why fans were so hot to see him come back. When you've been gone for that many years and a crowd is just losing their shit, you know, and every time they're in Chicago, there's a CM Punk chant. Yeah, that means you've left some sort of an imprint. But that brings me to another good question for you. So you mentioned that you would like to see yourself do some things outside MMA in the film industry. Mm-hmm. What kind of stuff would you like to do? In a perfect world, what kind of stuff would you like to get into maybe outside of fighting?
That's the sequel. We'll do that some other time.
Oh, what the fuck? Man, we don't play all that shit over here. Don't be hitting me with the clandestine missions like Garrison Creed was trying to hit me with.
Yeah, we'll save it. But you know, I definitely want to do some screenwriting and some acting too. So we'll do all that stuff.
Okay. Is there anybody in particular that you like as far as actors?
Yeah, man. Tom Hardy is one of my favorite actors right now. I like Dwayne Johnson. Johnny Depp is pretty good. Crazy, but pretty good.
You got any thoughts on him wanting to leave Fast and the Furious because of the stuff with Vin Diesel?
No, they've been going back and forth for years though. So I don't know.
Yeah, and I hear like that the thing I heard out of that, like when all that like broke and it came out, it was like there were multiple people saying he was like really hard to deal with like on set because like he wants everything. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
he's also made billions of dollars off one movie.
He didn't make shit compared to The Rock. Sorry,
Dwayne Johnson's now the highest paid actor.
Out of it though is that's his like. That's his child, right? That's what he's made his.
I get that.
So he represents that as himself, even though I think the movies have just progressively went further and further downhill.
I didn't see the new one, but I had to check it out.
The new one wasn't bad, but I feel like they're just pulling it out of their ass now, where at least before it made sense. And I would also argue to your counterpoint, Corey, I agree that Vin Diesel is the star of the show there, But at the same time, let's not act like when The Rock came in there as Hobbs, that didn't do a big jump for that fucking franchise. If you say it didn't, you're kidding, because they made a whole spin-off movie called Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah.
Based off of his role in Fast and the Furious. So as much as you can say, yes, Vin Diesel maybe is who you think of when it comes to Fast and the Furious, it's also not fair to say that The Rock didn't make his impact on that saga, because when you make a whole spin-off movie and brought in Roman Reigns to be his fucking co-star, sorry, man, that says something.
Yeah.
And here's a better point. How much can you hate on the wrestling end of it when what did he do? He took The Rock left, and what'd you do? You brought John Cena in there? Now John Cena is going to take that bitch over just like The Rock did, and then what's he going to do? Kick him out next?
Well, there's a reason why wrestlers are popular is because most of them, the ones that end up popular, should I say, are good enough on the mic where they can present themselves in a way that America finds them entertaining. And that's the big thing, is that they're presentable enough so that when you get them in front of a camera, they're able to turn what they already have the skill into something else. That's all it basically boils down to, in my opinion, at least. But outside of acting, what other like mainstream or just side niche thing do you think you bring to the table to kind of garner big fan attention? Like, I mean, there's simple things from like
other than the fact he's batshit crazy. I mean, shit. Do you not watch this motherfucker's social media? If you're not following him at King_SoloBeast, I think that was right. Yeah, man, you follow the guy or friend him on Facebook. I mean, dude, he shares a million different crazy ass memes a day. And then and then he just don't give a fuck what he posts anyway. So I mean, he's a good follow. But yeah, man, the guy's, you got personality for spades. But what else other than movies? What about stunt work and shit?
I'll take a stunt, man. Yeah, no, there's a lot of things that I'm working on. I do a lot outside of fighting too, but fighting is just my passion, and I love the fact that I get paid for my passion. Like, I'm getting paid pretty well to go out and kick some ass, so I love that. So, I get ready to start grad school too. So, like, literally 2 days after this fight, I start grad school.
Grad school for what?
Exercise physiology.
God damn. So, and so are you training people too?
Yeah, I do that too. That's a separate thing. I also personal train too. Yep.
This dude is just the jack of all trades in this bitch.
I do a little more than that, but I'm gonna stop there. Yeah.
See, man, this is why you leave us all the great content for the next time we bring you in, man.
I know, I got to. Yeah. My focus right now is just going out there and kicking ass, man. Just all focus on the fight. I'm ready. I can't wait to get out there, kick his ass, come home, and work on some other stuff until the next time.
Well, speaking of the fight, I mean, we mentioned that nothing in particular, that you don't give a shit either way, but are there any unique challenges you think that he provides, whether it be experience or, he's lanky or, jiu-jitsu or anything? So is there anything specific in his game that sticks out to you that you're looking like, okay, if there's anything that he can do that, would be anything I'd look for, it'd be this?
Honestly, he's a good fighter. Like, he was a top finalist on Tough. You know what I'm saying? He's well-rounded. He's got good, grappling, striking. He's well-rounded. He's a tough night out. He's a good fighter. I'm just better. So
I like it, man.
Kyle has brought up the fact that he's got some of his fame and stuff from being on Tough, and even you had just alluded to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Were you able to watch the Tough season this year? Did you catch any of it?
No, I didn't watch it.
No.
I be in my own bubble, man. I barely watch too much TV, man. At night, when I finally get, home at night is when I really cut on TV. And usually I'm watching anime, so. Man,
you didn't even watch Vinny Murdoch?
No, how did Murdoch do?
Murdoch knocked the guy out in the first fight. Like, it did him knocked him out in the first fight, made it to the semifinal, and then blew out his knee.
Damn, yeah, he's been battling with injuries, man. Damn, I didn't even know he was fighting on there.
Yeah, so basically what happened is he was fighting on his feet, and then the guy took him down and his knee got jammed, and like if you watch after that, like his leg is kind of just sticking up in the air because he can't really bend it to be able to like really wrap his guard back around him or anything like that.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen Vinny in a while, man. Always a cool guy, good training partner when I used to see him, but dang, that sucks.
Well,
so
the reason why I brought that up to begin with, though, is the fact that this weekend's card actually is the tough finale, and it's just so far under the radar. It seems to be like a very common theme that people haven't watched the season, maybe caught a couple episodes, but aren't even paying attention enough to know that this weekend, like, it's barely even being advertised on the card. It's more so the Giga Chikadze versus Edson Barboza fights the front runner over the tough finale, which it should be, but the fact that it's not even getting any advertisements, just honestly, it's surprising to me. Why bring the season back? Why do all this work to try to bring tough back to not even put advertisement into it? When it boils down. So.
Well, that kind of goes back to the point I had on the show where I suggested maybe a few new rules for the Ultimate Fighter, which, if you haven't checked it out, make sure you hit that motherfucking subscribe button. Anyways, yeah, like I said, man, I think a lot of that has to do with they need to do something to be able to liven it up, because even with it being gone for a couple years, as you just said, you know, it's kind of still being overshadowed to the main event. I think, you know, maybe if you did a steal rule or a save rule or you know, whatever. I mean, come up with what you will, but I think you need to do something to be able to. I don't know. I think you got to do something to
just switch up the format. Don't keep the same staleness.
Yeah, you have to.
Watching Ariel Helwani's new MMA, well, the revamp.
Darius, I don't know if you know, but it looks like you might be muted, brother, man.
Yeah, he's doing a little bit of moving around.
Oh, he's doing a switcheroo.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Now finish your point.
I had to move a little bit. My bad. I'm moving around.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. I seen you readjusting. You're smooth.
Yeah.
But watching the revamping of the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, which, by the way, if anybody who is an MMA fan hasn't checked it out, Ariel Helwani show's back. Yada yada blah blah. But he brought up.
He's also one of the commentators for that Jake Paul Tyron Woodley fight this weekend.
Yeah, which is interesting. I'm curious how that's going to work out with him. He's actually the one doing the in-ring interviews and all that shit. So I'm curious how that'll play out. But he brought up the same thing. He brought up the fact that it's just so under talked about this week that the most even hardcore fans don't even know. Like, you have to be legitimately dedicated to the sport to even know that this is a tough finale, which is supposed to be one of the biggest things in the sport. And it's just surprising. It's genuinely surprising.
It's ironic to hear you say that, because I actually got to link up with Clay Guida in Vegas after his fight Saturday night. He was there at the Nerd Bar. Shout out to Johnny from the Nerd Bar for looking out and treating us with such great hospitality. And shout out to the homie Mega Ran. A lot to talk about from Vegas. But, you know, that was something we were talking about with Clay. It's crazy because Clay was talking about how the Ultimate Fighter was such a springboard, and now it's kind of went down. But we've got plenty to look forward to as you're getting ready to go to war this weekend yourself against Mr. Joe Gianetti, like you were saying. So, like I said, man, the floor is yours. If you got any last words on any of that stuff or anything, any predictions for this fight, I mean, hey, bro, it's all yours.
Predictions for me, huh?
Hell yeah, man. We know you like to say some crazy shit, so here's the mic. Say some crazy shit.
Let's see. It's more than likely going to end in the finish. I'm feeling really good about this fight. I had a great training camp. There were some obstacles, but at the end of the day, I'm really excited, and I believe it's going to be a finish. I'm ready to bring it this time. My last fight, I won it. I just wanted to show some more aggression. But the way these guys have been fighting me lately, it's kind of like they just try to survive. So it takes two to tango. But I have faith that Joe's gonna try and come and bring a fight, so I hope he does.
Well, he's got to look impressive. So I'd like to think that he's gonna try to bring it to you. But hey, man, like I said, he is stepping in there with a solo beast like yourself, sir. I can't wait to watch this fight. I'm gonna be watching this fight. So let everybody know where they can catch the fight. Didn't you share? There's a live link to the stream. Is it free or do you got to pay for it? Or
no, you got to pay for it. It's a pay-per-view. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so it's Cage tight. Let me check. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me make sure I quote it right. Let's see.
He's checking the link. See, we're making sure we got you together to watch him hand out this ass whooping.
Let me see. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
Now, is this link that you're putting out there?
CageTitans.ticketspace.com/CageTitans. Yep.
Is this link that you're putting out there, is that an affiliate link? Will we be throwing Mr. Solo Beast a couple bucks off these ticket sales?
Yeah. Use promo code Estell. ESTELL.
You hear that? Promo code Estell at checkout.
Yep. And
I'm typing that in the comments right now if you guys are watching it.
Yep.
Hey, man, like I said, we appreciate you. Like I said, we're going to be watching. We're in your corner. And like I said, man, we'll have to bring you back on soon. Like I said, when you win this one, first round's on us because Megaran was trying to kill me this weekend. So if I get to drink with you, it'll be at least more celebratory.
Yeah,
so like
right.
I said,
I know, right?
do your thing, knock this dude out, brother, man. And like I said, I can't wait to see it.
Man, hey, thanks again, guys. I love you guys, man. You support, fighters so much, man, and bringing us on us, giving us a platform, man. I appreciate what you guys do. This is awesome. I appreciate it a lot. Great interview.
Appreciate that, man. And it's good to hear you guys see that, because all we're trying to do is, I mean, like I said, yeah, you might see us trying to go to some of these bigger stages and things like that, but dude, I ain't never gonna forget where I came from. So like I said, anybody that
me in the UFC, I'll still be coming on here like, hey, what's up? Hey.
Hey, man, I love it, dude. Like I said, anytime you want to drop in, you're more than welcome, homie.
For sure, man, for sure. So
I can't wait
let me give a shout out to some of my sponsors. Is that cool?
Do it up.
Yeah,
do it up.
absolutely.
Sweet. So Exotic Flooring, appreciate you, man. Love you.
What up, Javier? I've known Javier a long time. Javier knows all about what's good.
Dr. Elderani, man. Mike is freaking amazing.
Mike is like the doctor of Michigan.
Man.
Life Medical Center. Check him out.
Man, he is awesome. He supports every fighter in Michigan. Does great work, man. I don't know. I think that I can't die if I go see Mike.
Hey, don't say that too loud, bro. We're still in a pandemic, damn it.
I know, right? This is very true. Let me.
I'm just saying, don't say no dumb shit.
Yeah, you're right. This is very true. My apologies. But Life Medical Center is amazing. They're awesome. Located in Dearborn. Thank you, Mike. Let's see. Motor City Automotives, man. My boy Fadi, the solution. Awesome. He always sponsors me, always looks out, always says good things when we training, man. He always like, let's go, champ. Like, he'll push me, motivate me. Love you, Fadi. All my training partners, Michigan Top Team, Detroit Jiu-Jitsu Academy, all you guys, love you. You're amazing. My management, Chess Moves Management, all the guys help me out there. Carlos, my manager. Zach, my boy from Massachusetts, always helps me out, always in my corner, always saying good stuff. You guys, I really appreciate it, y'all. Solo Beast, King_Solo Beast is my Instagram. Darius Estell is my Facebook. But like I said, if you don't want crazy and memes, then don't go to Facebook. You just kind of go to my Instagram, King_Solo Beast. More professional, a little more chill. Yeah.
Hey, I like it, man. Well, I can't wait to see you bang, bro.
Final question from me.
Yep.
Where you got a spot for that belt yet?
Do I got a spot for it?
Yep.
Yeah, I got a shrine upstairs. I got my belts and my trophies from amateurs, stuff like that. I got all that. Yep.
Oh yeah.
See, man, you're supposed to be showing that on the screen, bro.
I'm gonna do it for you. I'm gonna do it for you. Hold on, man. Hold on. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it for you. Hold on. Give me a second.
We're making them get them stairs in.
I know, right? So hold on.
5 weeks stairs.
I gotta turn the camera or something. Hold on, let me see. All right, here you go. Can you see?
There you go.
All
see,
right.
we're adding that Cage Titan strap come the 28th.
Yeah,
We're adding that Cage Titan strap come the 28th. Like I said, make sure you check us out. And yes, Nate, I see you in the comments. The homie J-Bone is coming up next. But like I said, King Solo Beast, Darius Estell, I can't wait to see you throw them hands this weekend, bro.
Thanks. Love you guys, man. Talk to you all soon.
Love y'all too, brother, man. Do your thing.
Brother.
All right, later.
Yes, sir. All right. And without any further ado, Nate, I hope you're still in on the show. J-Bone, let's go. Hot damn, J-Bone, you've been checking out the show and been rocking with us for a minute, man. So I appreciate that. There's a lot of things to talk about on the pro wrestling end, but before we get into that, I mean, tell us a little bit about where they can find you, and tell us about the J-Bone Show and what they can expect from the J-Bone Show.
I'm trying to make sure I'm on par with you guys, man. I'm podcasting with the professionals right now, man. I feel like I make
Hold on. I don't know about all that. Hold on.
Yeah.
Cup of coffee in the big time, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, man.
Hold on.
You can find me on Spotify, anywhere you find your podcast, man. The J-Bone Show. I'm always playing good music, always talking good shit, man. MMA, wrestling, sports, you name it, man. Anything that comes through this brain, you're gonna hear it on the J-Bone Show, man. And
so when am I coming on the J-Bone Show, bro?
Hey, you want to go tonight? Right after this, let's do it, man. We can do this all.
Well, I might be. I'm kind of on baby.
Coming too.
Hey, I'm with it, bro. I'm with it. But I'm kind of on baby watch tonight, so that might not be a good idea.
It's all good, man.
I'm definitely on baby watch. I might be driving through this shit ass weather to the hospital. The new tag team partner and the new host of Knockouts and 3 Counts, another co-host that might be coming soon. Jaden might be making his debut. So yeah, like I said, I'm on baby watch. My sister is like hella pregnant, and apparently they said they think she's more pregnant than they thought. So
are they inducing her, or what's this?
Well, so they were talking about that, but now it looks like they just thought that they think that she just might have been farther along than they thought. So, like I said, man, I don't know. All I know is I'm going to be an uncle soon. So,
can't wait for you guys. Join the parent club. Shit's fun.
Hell, man, I get the fun part. I get to be the uncle, bro. I get to send them home when I'm done with them.
Yeah, I got nieces and nephews, and that's a whole different ballgame. You know, like you said, they can come over, they can fuck shit up for a minute, and like you said, get the hell out of here type shit. My kids, man, you gotta treat them like your own. You know, different ballgame.
Man, your kids are almost like my own at this point, anyway. But like I said, man, yeah, man, I'm definitely looking forward to that. But I mean, bro, there's a lot to be looking forward to on the fucking pro wrestling end of things. And my man's J-Bone hit me up as soon as CM Punk went nuts, even though I was in Nashville. So let me start with you first. So what were your thoughts on the CM Punk return? Is there anything you would have liked to have seen different? And what do you think the impact's going to be out of it?
Man, honestly, obviously it wasn't a very well-kept secret. If you follow wrestling, you know it was coming eventually. We've been waiting on it forever. And honestly, I think it was perfect. I don't think you could have did it any better. It was anticipated. The crowd was hot from the moment the show opened, and it blew the roof off the place, man. It was insane. Man, I couldn't imagine. I was sitting here at my TV screen just going crazy.
I was in the hotel, fam. I'm not even going to hold you up. I was like the pop from that crowd was giving me fucking goosebumps, dude. And Corey, I know you're not a wrestling fan, but fuck what you heard. That man is a star.
You can appreciate that as a non-wrestling, whatever.
That's like I tell all my friends. Like a lot of my friends aren't into wrestling like I've been into wrestling. I've been in wrestling my whole life, man. But they're always like, "What gets you?" You know, as a fan, it's those moments like that. Because like we've seen with the pandemic, without the crowd, it's so much different. But when you have that crowd interaction, you have that feel, that pop, as they call it, man, it's something that it's unmatchable in situations like that. It's amazing to see it. And I couldn't even imagine being there, dude. My ears probably would have blew off my head.
That's somebody who's been to a ton of concerts, a ton of different events and festivities and shit like that. That's one thing that wrestling does have. Like, even over any type of MMA, like even Conor McGregor and shit, he doesn't get the same, like, type of pop that wrestling gets. Like, the fans, like, they really dig in pro wrestling. That's one thing that it's always had, is when the stands are full, you can really feel it. It's like an NFL game in the fourth quarter or something. It's like they're going at it. And every time they got somebody that they love, you can feel it. Every time they don't care for somebody, you can feel it. But either way, you can feel it. And that's what all that matters with the pro wrestling.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, Corey, you know, you mentioned, I mean, and again, I can't keep saying you're not a wrestling guy anymore, because at this point you're going to have to start you're headed. Corey may have missed the promo, but Corey's going to be in the building for CM Punk's first match in 11 years at All Out. And so am I. So after hearing that pop and hearing that promo and hearing some of the things he said, Does this make you as a non-wrestling fan any more excited to go, to go to Chicago and go see this?
Yeah, I want my fucking free ice cream, bro, for sure. No, but
them ice creams we used to have back in the day as kids, you can't lie, were the shit, and that's what they are.
Yeah.
Like, if you say you didn't like them, you're a liar. We all ate them.
Right.
All bullshit aside, though, yeah, I'm more so than the match. Like I always say, when it boils down to wrestling, in my eyes, I guess you could say, is I view it from more of the entertainment factor, of course, and I think that the pop that he's gonna get, the walkout, as soon as the music starts, as soon as the screens light up, every little aspect of the match leading into it is what I'm excited for just as much as the match, honestly.
Well, J-Bone, I'll leave the second part of that question to you. I mean, for me, okay, and Corey, I got a good question to throw back at you as well. So, I mean, you mentioned that the pop is more what you're more excited about. How do you feel about this matchup that we're getting with CM Punk versus Darby Allen, who Sting is going to be, involved somehow in the buildup, which, if you didn't check it out, we got put in Bleacher Report for our interview with Darby Allen, so hit that motherfucking subscribe button. Anyway, like I said, what are your thoughts on this matchup and Darby and him coming out right away and addressing Darby Allen, calling him out in those promos with the best in the world shit?
True. I think it's good, man. I think it's good to put him right in the pack with these young guys because he's been gone for 7 years, man. Who knows? I mean, ring rust is a real thing, right? But what better way to get him in there with guys that can carry him if he needs to? I don't think he's going to need it.
I don't think he's going to. I mean, I don't think Darby's going to be doing any carrying, but
no,
Darby will push him.
But it's going to be physical. Darby's going to go through some crazy shit, and that's what's going to bring Punk to the forefront to show everybody that he is going to be able to roll with these young guys. And not just Darby. I think it's going to go down the line. And he's not going to be fighting for a title anytime soon, I don't think. But he's going to go through the young talent, and eventually it's going to lead up to guys like MJF, Moxley, and I think
Can you imagine CM Punk versus MJF in the wordplay between them two?
Amazing. That will be something that will be on the center stage at the biggest show of the year. CM Punk versus MJF. That's going to.
What were you going to say, Corey?
I was gonna say it was a couple months back actually, but I had watched an interview. I believe it was him being interviewed because of his desk duties for God,
CFFC.
I'm really fumbling that fucking sentence right now. His desk duties for Cage Fury. They were talking about like all of this stuff, and of course the wrestling end came up and stuff like that. And he had brought up that that's part of his favorite thing in wrestling is actually bringing these guys that he appreciates from the sidelines and giving them the attention by getting like a match with him and stuff like that. And of course that was years removed from wrestling in its own, but I think he was kind of saying that as a lead up to what he knew was coming. And I think that's what we're going to end up seeing, like to your point, where he's going to go in there with all these young guys so that these young guys can get the rub of having a match with him. More, it's like a he wants.
I mean, so the traditional guard in wrestling, bro, is passing the torch. But let's not get it twisted. If you think that AEW is not going to try to pull the trigger on CM Punk versus Kenny Omega or CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes, come on, dude. Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk is fucking money.
Yeah.
Fucking money.
On the flip side of that, there's going to be a face-off eventually with Jericho and Punk, and that's just going to bring that
and run that shit back.
That's going to bring that nostalgia factor back, and obviously.
All right, Corey. So before we go to All Out, matter of fact, when we get off this TV, and I'm gonna leave you with a match because we're gonna talk about SummerSlam and Takeover and all that I need you to watch because I want your opinion on it on Thursday. So here's the thing. You mentioned Jericho and Punk. That match has so much meat on the bone because of them facing each other in WWE and all the shit that went with that. Oh my God. Can you imagine the lighter promos that those are going to be? Because I just feel like they're going to be throwing all the ropes off with that stuff when it comes time for that.
To pose a bit of an odd question to you guys, is there a bigger name in wrestling that could come back and get a bigger pop than what CM Punk just got?
I don't think so.
Here's the thing, and that brings up a good question. So here's the thing, though, with SummerSlam coming back, WWE tried to clap back. They brought back Becky, they brought back Brock. You know, you had Cena versus Roman, and I mean, I gotta tell you, bro, when Brock came out, and the way they had him come out and confront Roman Reigns, being that Paul Heyman has always been Brock Lesnar's guy, let me tell you, bro, I was in the fucking arena. They went apeshit. It was 50,000 motherfuckers in there going apeshit.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It's kind of hard to compare the two pops because you're talking about an arena full of 50,000 and we're talking about an arena full of 16,000.
Yeah.
It's different. You know, it's different. So yes, the Brock pop might have been louder, but as far as overall effect, right now, I don't know.
I'm not talking about necessarily like in the arena because, like you say, of course,
overall effect, I don't know. But here's the thing: AEW might have the next biggest one lined up. If there is another one, they already have the next biggest one potentially lined up because it's also been rumored that at the Arthur Ashe Stadium show in New York, it's said that there might be one American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, there. So if Bryan Danielson shows up in New York, I promise you might have a replay of what happened to CM Punk, because the idea of CM Punk versus Bryan Danielson on a big stage like that on AEW when they did all the shit that they did in Ring of Honor, holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit. You talk about a storyline that's going to have people on their shit. If that eventually gets ran after whatever happens with this whole Darby Allen and all that, I don't know that it'll be able to be louder than CM Punk, but mark my words, if Bryan Danielson really does show up in AEW, dude, they're going to go apeshit. Yeah. They're going to go apeshit.
Absolutely, man.
So maybe not bigger, but this won't be the last of these pops if they have that, I feel like.
I feel like pop maybe wasn't the right description of the word.
Bigger impact.
The bigger wake in the pond, you know, of wrestling as a whole.
Yeah, and as far as there being a bigger shock factor, I don't know. But as far as making an impact, if Bryan Danielson goes to AEW and is able to work with Japan after all these years, dude, that's gonna make some noise, because you got to realize it's another WWE champion.
That's going to take,
and not just a WWE champion, but you got to remember, I mean, J-Bone, I think you would agree. I mean, Daniel Bryan's another guy who changed the business. The Yes movement changed the business.
Yeah, and that's another guy that the fans fought for. The fans fought for him to be in that main event of WrestleMania 30. The fans fought for him. Remember, he was in the Royal Rumble. They booed Roman out of the building.
Yes, sir. They booed Batista. They booed Triple H.
That's another guy that the fans really fought for, just like CM Punk. And yeah, you're right. That when that does happen, I think it's going to happen. The roof's going to blow off the place.
And even to go with that, so a little bit of backstory. You know, when Bryan got let go from WWE for that short time when he choked out Justin Roberts, who ironically is now the announcer in AEW with the tie, and they legitimately fired him for that. I went to an indie show for Shikara that was at Taylortown Trade Center, and there was 250 people in there. And in the 2 months' time he was off, guess who the main event of that show was? It was Bryan Danielson versus one Eddie Kingston. And he kicked the shit out of Eddie Kingston. He said, I mean, look, dude, say what you want. Bryan Danielson kicked him in the chest 20 times straight. Kick pads, no kick pads. You get kicked in the chest 20 times in the chest. It sucks. Yeah. Just saying. Call it wrestling. Call it what you want. Call it kick pads. Whatever you want, dude. But yeah. So I'm pretty. Well, right. That's what I'm talking about. Shit. I'm not trying to take 20 kicks either. But yeah, like I said, I think that's the only one that maybe might be comparable at this point. I don't think it'll overdo what Punk did, but I'm telling you, if he really does show up in AEW and there's any prospect that the two of them being able to face each other, yeah, that's gonna cause some waves. But all right, we've talked enough about the CM Punk debut and what he's got next. So the next logical order of business would be to talk about what happened on Saturday. And ring the motherfucking bell. I was there for that. And hey, before I get to that next point, ring the motherfucking bell. I said there might be a new tag team partner for me for Knockouts and 3 Counts. But last night, we already added another member to Knockouts and 3 Counts. And Devin's daughter has made her debut in the world. Shout out to Devin and Portia on having their kid. Yeah. Like I said, man, shit, there might be a whole new roster coming to Knockouts and 3 Counts coming real soon. Shout out to Devin. But J-Bone, since you got to watch it from home, before we get into some of the points, what are your overall thoughts on SummerSlam?
Man, the production for that was so good on TV. Like, I don't know, I'm sure from a fan standpoint, being there was probably amazing, but like watching it from home, dude, it was like a spectacle on TV. And just the things first of all, my favorite moment of the night was not even a match. It was when Edge came out.
The Edge entrance?
With the Brood thing. I was like, dude.
What did I tell you, Corey? What did I tell you on Sunday morning? What did I tell you was my favorite part of the whole show?
I'm standing at the TV like, oh, shit. Like, this is dope, dude. Nostalgia in wrestling. That's the shit I like, man. But I thought it was a great show, man. It was definitely, it was a little overshadowed by the Punk thing, for sure. But SummerSlam, it's the second biggest pay-per-view of the year. You know what I mean? For me, personally. It amazing. The comebacks were great. Becky Lynch looked great. Brock looked great.
Wait a minute. So wait a minute.
No, so
I was going to leave that. I was going to leave that one for later, but wait a minute. So you got to watch this from home. I still want to watch SummerSlam back because that's something I was trying to tell Corey. And I'm so excited that you're getting to go to Chicago because you're finally going to get to experience what I mean. Because it's one thing to watch the show in the building, but you don't always get to see everything that everybody's getting to see at home. You might not get to have the commentators, telling the story for you is really a big part of it. So that can change the experience in which, how you see a show. I asked that with the Becky Lynch thing because I think pop-wise and her coming back, it was great. And did I not say that, Corey? I was happy to see Becky come back. I think the pop was great, but I think the way they did it was bullshit. You killed Bianca. Why the fuck even if you were going to have her win, why'd she have to lose in 5 seconds?
I 100% agree with that, man. That was, I didn't want
Did they not shit on Bianca? Was that not your thought watching it at home?
They've been building her up so much, even through the Royal Rumble and everything. They had the 24/7 documentary on her, and she's good, man. She didn't have to lose. Becky could have came out and just stood face to face with her, and you could have put that on for the next few weeks to the next month. Extreme Rules, whatever you want to do. The thing that confused me though, because Becky wasn't on the SmackDown roster, right? Which she gave up the Raw.
She wasn't on any of them because she was on Raw. Well,
when
she had both belts. She had both belts. Remember?
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
She had both belts, and then she dropped one of them. I mean, I'm not mad at her going back to SmackDown, but honestly. Okay, so I understand why she went to SmackDown for the fact that I truly do believe that Fox is seeing what's going on Raw and telling them, like, look, I don't want that shit on my network. So I think Fox is telling them what they want on SmackDown, which is why I think you might be seeing a better product a lot of times on SmackDown, especially when you consider, look, Brock Lesnar went back to SmackDown now, essentially. Yeah. He showed back up for Roman, so now he's going to SmackDown too, and Becky's going to SmackDown. Yeah. We talk about all the time how Raw is so depleted. I think if you brought Becky back to Raw to have her feud with Charlotte, I mean, that's one of the only feuds I can really see that you put together here unless you have Becky go back as SmackDown champion and then let it be Becky versus Charlotte for the belts, or champion versus champion, maybe at Survivor Series.
Yeah,
I could see that, but I mean, what do you think about that? Do you think Becky should have went to Raw?
Yeah, I mean, I think she could have went anywhere, honestly. No matter where she's going to go, she's going to be a star there. She's going to be the top.
But what brand do you think needed it more?
Raw needs everything. I think Raw needs absolutely everything because I'm sorry, dude. I've been watching Raw since it debuted, and right now it is hot.
It's
garbage.
trash.
It is hot garbage right now. It's like, dude, I can't even. I watched like the first 15 minutes, and then I Twitter the rest. You know what I mean? I'm just like Twitter highlights the rest. Even the ending of the show, like I don't even want to stay up to watch it no more, man. I'm just like, I'm a wrestling fan like through and through, man, and I can't even sit through it no more. SmackDown I can do. SmackDown's fine. Raw needs something. I don't know what it is, but they need anything they can get at this point because it ain't working over there.
It's crazy how many people I've heard that from now. It really is. I've probably heard that from 20 different people that we've had on the show up to this point. Like everybody shares that same opinion that Raw is either borderline unwatchable or flat out they just don't even bother anymore. It's like one or the other. And that's not a good reputation to have for one of your flagships.
Your flagship. Raw used to be like must-see TV. You couldn't not watch it.
Yeah.
And I think that really kind of highlights one of the problems that we have in WWE right now, man. Like, I mean, let's face it, NXT, I think that's why we're about to see the real, there's a lot of rumor that Vince wants to go back to more character type characters like it used to be back in the 80s. And it's like, okay, that was a proven formula back then.
What do they mean by that? Like Undertakers and shit like that, and like
that, but more so like yeah. So like you would have like back in the day, you had like Duke the Dumpster Droese, or you had well, hell, Kane used to be Dr. Isaac Yankem.
Yeah.
Before he was Kane, he was
back to the late 80s. You had guys that are just off like Coco Beware. That dude just
Repo Man.
Yeah. These guys are all over the place back then,
So, all right, I get
it. And then, like, look at Alexa Bliss, bro. Like, here's a perfect example, right? When The Fiend was around, Alexa Bliss, it was like she was demented and it was an alter ego and all that stuff. Well, now, I mean, they were talking about it today on Busted Open. Shout out to the homie Ryan McKinnell, who I was watching NXT TakeOver with. Thanks for the hospitality in Vegas, homie. Yeah, dude. Think about this. Little kids are saying they want to buy that doll, bro. When she first came out, I mean, I get it. Make your money. I get it from a WWE standpoint, but I'm saying look at the difference in that character now. When The Fiend was with it, it was with her, it was like this demented thing. Now it's, you know what I mean? So I feel like with them saying that, I mean, and then look at what happened with Karrion Kross. You as a wrestling fan, how do you feel about what happened with Karrion Kross, and what do you think about the garb that we saw him come out in on Monday?
They're blowing it, man. And it's like
blowing it. They already fucked it up when he lost to Jeff Hardy in a minute and a half.
Right. Well, and then what made Karrion Kross for me in NXT, dude, before his matches, his entrance with Scarlett and everything, dude, it was one of the best we've seen. And then when he came up, I was like, hell yeah, Killer Kross.
Didn't I say this, Corey? Any of you that have been watching and listening?
Where's she at? Like, she made him. You know what I mean? Like with the entrance wise, and then they put whatever that shit was on him on Monday, and I was like, what is it? It looked
like somebody had like an S&M outfit from like Demolition or something like that. It was wild, dude. And then you had him. He lost the title to Joe, which I feel like everybody kind of knew was coming with the way they were booking him. He lost the title to Joe. It was still a great match, but it was. It was still a great match, but I mean, I think everybody kind of had that gut feeling that Kross was going to lose with the way they were booking him. And that being said, still, my match that you need to watch, Corey, is coming off NXT TakeOver. So make sure you stay tuned and listen to that because, Corey, like I said, I need you to watch this. I need your opinion on Thursday because it might have been one of the most hard-hitting matches I've watched in the last 10 years. Flat out.
Flat out.
He already knows.
I know what he's talking about.
You see?
Dude,
Does that not tell you what I need to?
That for you guys to discuss.
Is that not what? Is that not what? I mean, am I wrong? If we're talking about the same match, am I wrong?
We gotta be. I won't spoil it, but yeah, you got to see that.
We'll talk about it in a minute. You ain't going nowhere. We're just getting started. We just getting started in this bitch, man. Well, let's talk a little bit. You know, we talked about SummerSlam. You know, let's talk about, you know, and here's the thing. With that being, you know, arguably the second biggest show of the year for WWE, man. I mean, the fanfare that brings into Vegas. Let's talk a little bit about Vegas. Shout out to the homie Mega Ran for bringing us in. All right, J-Bone, since you're a hip-hop guy, I mean, are you familiar with the stylings of our homie Mega Ran?
No, I'm not.
Man, you don't know about Philly. You don't know about Philly's own Mega Ran, bro? He's been holding it down over there in Phoenix. Here you go, hip-hop head. He was the one who made the theme song for Revolution. That was his song.
Right.
That was why I was out at Revolution, because of the homie Mega Ran.
See,
shout out to the homie Kenny Omega for them tickets. I appreciate you, sir. Might not be my homie, but you hooked up Rand, which hooked up me. So one winged angel all day. But anyway, like I said, man, Vegas was a trip, dude, because so I got into Nashville Thursday. Thursday, we went out, did our thing. I even won a 3-point shootout drunk. I mean, hey, it was a good day. And then we had my sister's wedding on Friday. And then I literally was up from 5 o'clock in the morning, like Tennessee time, which is basically Eastern time, till 5 o'clock in the morning Vegas time. So I was up over 24 hours, dude. Like, dude, we went hard in the paint in Vegas. It was insane in Vegas. Mega Ran was definitely trying to kill me as soon as I got off the plane. Shout out to Fat Tuesdays. If you're ever in Vegas and just roaming the strip, you got to hit up Fat Tuesdays, get you one of the margaritas. But I'm just going to tell you, if you get a Fat Tuesday, beware if you're a guy who's maybe not as tall as Corey or as big as Mega Ran, because, Mega Ran's accuracy on when that drink would hit me. Kudos to you, sir, because he was literally saying, you're going to get about 3/4 of the way through that, and it's going to hit you. Sure as shit. I look down at my drink, and I'm about 3/4 of the way through it, and I'm like, dang, this thing is kind of giving it to me a little bit. And so, yeah, it was good times. And then we went in to Foot Locker, so I'm sure you're familiar of the stylings of one Mr. Wale, Mr. Nike Boots himself. So Wale was doing the after party after SummerSlam. We were going to go link up with him, but they did the collab with Foot Locker with Hotchinsock, where they did the Ted DiBiase shirt. There was a Macho Man shirt. There's a Junkyard Dog shirt and a Mr. Perfect shirt. We go in there, dude, shout out to the people, the fine people at Foot Locker and Hotchinsock for hooking your boy up with that badass $1 Million Man shirt. That was pretty dope. But yeah, Fat Tuesdays. I was feeling it at Fat Tuesdays. And then so we went back and changed to get in the thing. And shout out to Roosevelt. Did you see the pictures of us in that NWO button down, bro? Tell me that bitch was not fire.
Yeah, I seen that shit.
Tell me that bitch wasn't hard body, dude.
Yeah, it was dope.
I was gonna pull out the Jordan 1s on him, but I didn't want to mess them up. But yeah, dude, we were rolling deep. Mega Ran had the Mr. T, Clubber Lang, Roosevelt's on, Derek, and the other guys were rocking them. Woo! Nature Boy, Ric Flair ones. We were looking crispy on the way to the Death Star, and then we got there a little bit late. I may or may not have missed some of the pre-show, but yeah. Las Vegas Stadium. Now we're getting back to SummerSlam. I'm sure you guys heard about this while it was going live. I couldn't eat. I was starving. We couldn't eat. I couldn't buy nothing to drink. The system went down. What the fuck?
Yeah. Fuck.
Did you guys hear about any of that watching it live? Like, was that on Twitter at all?
I seen something on Twitter about it because people were hashtagging shit like, you know, they couldn't eat or drink, nothing was working. Yeah, I seen that.
Literally, the only thing you could do was buy merch to the point where they were giving food away for free. Yeah. Mind you, we were there. If you were there from the start, you were there for about 5 or 6 hours.
Ugh. Drinking up. I mean, Vegas, you're drinking too. You got to eat something.
You couldn't even buy alcohol. You could buy alcohol, but you can't buy alcohol if the card machine don't work.
Yeah.
Could you imagine pre-gaming, going hard, getting ready, and then you're like, fuck yeah, all the boys are together, everybody's like right on that teeter of like feeling it, and you're like, all right, first round, let's go get. Oh fuck.
Nothing.
And now you got 5.5, 6 hours ahead of you of like you're just riding that fucking roller coaster. Oh, that would be.
Oh, dude. Your buzz is depleting. You can't.
Yeah, kind of like drinking Fat Tuesdays, and then
you'd be
kind of like drinking Fat Tuesdays, and then you walk into the arena, and then
you'd be sleeping in the chair by the time.
I was not sleeping in the chair. I watched the whole thing. Thank you, but yeah, it was. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that. But let's get back to something of SummerSlam that was very interesting to me. Corey, what are your thoughts on one Mr. Gable Steveson making his appearance at SummerSlam versus all the talk of Dana White trying to kiss his ass to fight in the UFC?
Well, to jump points, just to keep it relevant, I guess he was supposed to meet with Dana White while he was in Vegas, and they kind of like stood each other up type thing. So kind of a bit of a prediction on where he might end up going if, you catch my drift. But even at that, I mean, he's the hottest commodity right now, right? Like he was at the Bellator show on Friday. He was at, he's literally just made the rounds everywhere.
But what I'm saying is, do you think that this brings bigger light on, like that whole fighter pay thing? Because he's about to get – because, okay, I want to hear the rest of your point, but to put it into any kind of –
wrestling's not without its flaws when it comes to wrestler pay, too. A lot of wrestlers complain about being shorted in pay.
A lot of wrestlers get mad because of the inability to be able to do outside interests a lot of times. Because somebody that's coming in on his end, to put this into perspective, right? So we all know that wrestling has a certain high-profile gold medalist who might have won one with a broken freaking neck, a guy named Kurt Angle. So Kurt Angle got the Brinks truck backed up to him, and he denied it. And then you know what they did to Kurt Angle after that? They made him do a tryout and shit. So let's not get it twisted. If Gable Steveson would have fucked around and played games, I wouldn't be shocked to watch WWE have pulled back that money. So all I'm saying is if it does come to fruition and Gable Steveson does come to WWE, don't get it twisted, homie. He got the Brinks truck. And here's the thing. Gable Stevenson's still young as shit. Why can't he go to WWE for a couple years like Ronda Rousey did and then go to the UFC? Make your money in wrestling, young buck, and then go get you a belt.
Yeah, there you go. And I would not be against that at all as somebody who's not even really intaker of wrestling in that regard. I wouldn't be against that at all because you could use that time to build up your fame, build up your ability to bring eyes to your fight outside of just your ability to fight. So not only that, yet like you said, get some money in the bank. You're able to go still train on the side. You're able to build up your hands, build up everything else that you may be lacking as somebody coming in with an Olympic wrestling background, but yet also be in a working career and making money at the same time. So I completely agree with that. I actually wouldn't be against that route at all.
Okay. J-Bone, what do you think about them trying to get Kurt Angle 2.0, even though they already had Chad Gable, who was an Olympian and has killed it in WWE?
I mean, why not, man? Like Corey said, he's the hottest commodity out there. Why not bring him to your company? Why not bring him to your star? Put them together. I mean, it's only going to grow. You know what I mean? Unless he goes in there and completely shits the bed, which I don't think that's going to happen. It's gonna boost him to the next level, and obviously more eyes on WWE. So I think it's a win-win situation for both of them.
I think that the only other free market like level person in the in the range of that is like a Kayla Harrison if she ends up winning this PFL tournament. I think that's the only person in the free market range that is even close to his level. So yeah, he's in a real high signing area. Like,
and even at that, I think it's a done deal that if Kayla Harrison leaves PFL, we know where Kayla Harrison's going. Kayla Harrison wants to go fight in the UFC, so I don't think that one's going to happen. But now, that being said, though, they also brought out the female. Was she the judo champion, or was she wrestling too?
I think on TV they said wrestling.
Okay, I thought so. So, I mean, they had a female out there too, man. So, I mean, hey, they might already be gearing up for it. Maybe female Kurt Angle or some shit. Who knows? But another thing I wanted to talk about, did you guys notice from watching at home, J-Bone, did you notice that all the champions that came out first lost?
Yeah. I was just going to say that because I was reading something on Twitter. Somebody posted something on Twitter earlier today. All the champs that came out first was on the losing end of that. And what was there, 7 title matches, right?
There was a lot of them.
I think there was 7. I don't remember how many changed hands exactly.
You had both tag titles. You had both world titles, so that's 4. You had the U.S. title. You had the U.S. title, so that's 5. You had the women's title, that's 6.
What else?
And then and that brings that the Intercontinental title didn't get defended. That brings me up to a damn good point that I wanted to ask you about. So before I get to that, though, please finish your point.
So like I said, I was seeing that on Twitter. I was like, okay, there's a trend here because every time these guys come out first, we're losing. They're losing their titles. I'm like, why though? Like, what is? Because classic wrestling, the champ comes out second. Like, why?
Thank you.
Why? And even in everything, UFC.
Thank
boxing,
you.
Everything. Everybody knows the champ comes out second. Heel, face, it doesn't matter. So I was confused sitting at home, like.
Not to mention, here's an easy fix. Call me stupid, but maybe if you have the champion come out second, then maybe it wouldn't have looked like all the champions were gonna fucking lose.
Right.
I don't know.
We're starting a trend on live TV. I'm like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah,
Not to mention, for years, bro. You said you've been watching since the debut of Raw, so you've been watching just as long as I have.
Mm-hmm.
So, when did the champion come out? For like all intents and purposes, always
last.
If the champion come out last, would it not make you have more reason to believe that maybe the champion was going to retain that title?
Most likely, yeah. And it put them on a pedestal too. They're a champion for the reason.
No shit. That's my whole. That was the one I was hoping you were going to say.
Yeah.
That was the one I was hoping you were going to say. Because at some point, if we're not glorifying these people as champions, then what the fuck is the point of the belt?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Which
if you don't get some kind of credence for being champion, whether that's coming out second or not having to have a match every week, unless you're like a U.S. champion or something where they'll have an open challenge or whatever. Like, if there's not some kind of champion's advantage, then what the fuck's the point of being the champion?
Exactly. 100%.
All right. I'm so glad to hear that because that you just made my point. But that brings up another champion. Now, watching from at home, did they explain at all what happened with King Nakamura?
No, dude. I would tell you a funny story. I seen Boogs out there, ripping the guitar, right? So I'm like, all right, King Nakamura.
And that was badass. First of all, shout out to Rick Boogs. That motherfucker can rip the guitar, and it made that entrance dope as shit, especially with 50,000 people and everybody singing around, whoa! It was pretty damn dope. It was like a rock concert. So shout out to Rick Boogs. All right, go ahead.
I watched that. So I'm like, all right, he's coming. I got time to go take a piss real quick. I get back. Him and it was a Pat McAfee, and they're all on the table. They're shredding out shit, and then it was done. I'm like, what?
So did he do commentary or anything on the show?
No, nothing. He just disappeared, dude.
Thank you. I'm so glad that it wasn't just in the arena because in the arena, everybody sitting around me was like, "What the fuck? Yeah. Why did they just bring him out and there's no explanation, no match, there's no package, there's no backstage shit, there's nothing that's set up for Friday. There was nothing. Yeah. Nothing. They had him come out and do the entrance, do his whole thing, and then all of a sudden we just jumped to the Bianca Belair match, which I've got plenty to fucking say about that.
No. Do you think that was something that happened?
Go ahead, Corey.
I was going to say, do you think that was something that happened backstage, or do you think it was kind of like, what do you think actually transpired for that to happen?
Probably they were running short on time, but again, this is how they shit on their titles. How the fuck do you cut the Intercontinental Champion?
I was just about to say that, dude. That's one of the most prestigious titles.
The Intercontinental title used to be the title that meant if you're the Intercontinental Champion, you're the next in line.
Yeah. Yes.
If you were Intercontinental Champion, that meant that you were on that. Like, that's how you knew.
Next. I mean, think about SummerSlam 92 at Wembley.
Look at The Rock.
Big SummerSlam, the Intercontinental title main evented SummerSlam.
At Wembley Stadium.
At Wembley Stadium. It's always been a big title. And right now.
What about The Rock? The Rock and Stone Cold, both of them were made by the Intercontinental title. Exactly. Both of them.
Tons of stars made by the Intercontinental title.
They had a whole feud over the Intercontinental title.
Yeah. And right now,
a whole fucking feud.
Nakamura, man. Nakamura is the shit. But
that
title means nothing right now.
Yeah,
absolutely nothing.
But come on, guys. We need to save 6 minutes for production, guys. Come on.
Yeah, I guess.
But then
maybe that was the point where they're deciding if they were going to squash Bianca or not. Maybe that's the time they took.
So here's my issue with that. So I'm glad to know that everybody at home was thinking the same shit that I was in the arena, because I was really pissed about that for a while, because I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I was mad for Nakamura.
Yeah.
I was mad for Nakamura because we're talking about a guy who was one of the biggest signings when he came over from Japan. I was in the fucking arena when him and AJ had their match at WrestleMania 34 that was fucking badass. Yeah. This guy should be, like, next up for the belt.
Yeah, he deserves
even though he can't speak English that well. He should be next up or in that, like, in that vicinity, dude. Yeah. He shouldn't be a comedy act.
Mm-hmm. He deserves a lot more than what he gets in WWE, man.
Although, then again, kudos to Nakamura, because I think what they've done with Boogs and the shit with him and Baron Corbin has been great.
Yeah.
So I'm not even saying I'm not entertained by what they've been doing lately, but Nakamura is that kind of talent.
Yeah, definitely. And that dude can get physical too.
Right. He's got an MMA background. If I'm not mistaken, he fought in the Pride style in Japan.
Yeah.
You know,
go throw him
like
throw him in with Walter. Physical. I know you know where you're going with this, but
all right, man. Well, since we're gonna have to jump the line for 1 second, if there's one match out of the whole weekend that, Corey, I don't give a shit what you say, I need you to watch it. It's Walter versus Ilya Dragunov, because they faced each other 2 years ago, or no, about a year ago. It was 2020. They faced each other a year ago. Beat the living shit out of each other. I told you it was one of the hardest hitting matches I've seen in the last 10. Well, they topped it with this one. His eye was split open. Both of them's chests looked like hamburger meat when it was over with. And then the finish to that match was absolutely savage. Yeah. He picked this man up in a rear naked choke. Now, Walter is 300 fucking pounds. 300 pounds. Ilya Dragunov, how much you think Ilya Dragunov weighs, J-Bone?
I'd say, dude, max. Well, on TV, probably 235. Real life, probably about 220-ish.
220 maybe, right?
Yeah.
Ilya Dragunov picked him up in a rear naked choke and yanked his ass up in a rear naked choke and finished his ass in the air.
Off his feet.
Yes. So I'm talking from full flat on his back, grabbed the choke and yanked this motherfucker up and had him in the air choking him. The visual of that was insane because that is a big son of a bitch.
Yeah, just to be lifting up for sure.
Yeah, you got to check that one out. That's something to see, man.
Dude, so funny story about Walter. Do you remember when the NXT UK Championship got stolen?
Yeah.
I took a picture with him 2 hours before that in Detroit with the belt.
Are you suspect? Did you?
I mean, on Instagram, which if you're following me at Detroit Knockout, it says it right down there in that bottom left corner. I was getting accused left and right. Okay, see, I got a belt. I got a motherfucking belt, but it ain't the NXT belt. See, and my belt is all signed and shit. His belt, you know, I'll put that picture back up on our Instagram. Make sure you follow us at KO3C Pod. But no, I literally took a picture with this dude 2 hours before they left for Chicago. They did the show that was for Evolve, Corey. They had Evolve was here, and it was in Livonia at the Knights of Columbus. They went to Chicago from here. What happened was they left their shit in the car for a minute. Somebody busted in the window and stole the belt and stole all their shit.
Can we just speculate, like, when somebody opened it up, like, what were their initial thoughts when they're like, man, I got this? Like, was it exposed? Did they know they were grabbing a belt?
I feel like you must have saw it through the window.
Did they just grab a case, like, or was it like?
Well, they're usually in a bag. They're usually in a velvet bag.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Did they see this fancy ass bag? They're like, I'm about to come up on like a couple $1,000, and then they got home and they're like, a fucking wrestling belt? Fuck. Like, what was like?
Well, I mean, to be fair,
reaction real quick to you just broke into a car, you think shit's sweet, and then all of a sudden you have a wrestling belt in your hand.
I know if it was me and I found the UK championship and I knew Walter held that shit, I would be running to give that motherfucker back because I ain't taking a chop from that motherfucker if he catches
Corey,
me.
like, I'm not kidding, dude. Like, when you get done with this,
yeah,
go look.
I remember his match from TakeOver, I believe, from last
year. Okay then. So, yeah, like I said, dude, he's a big-ass dude, and imagine him and PCO beating the shit out of each other. Just saying.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I had to get to that for a minute. But back to what we were talking about. Becky Lynch's return. How do you feel about Becky Lynch's return? And, again, the reason I bring this up is because in the arena, we were all like, what the fuck's going on? Now, to give you a little background on leading up to this, I don't know how much of this you knew, J-Bone, but I know, Corey, you don't look into the news as heavy. So it had been being rumored for about a couple weeks beforehand that Vince wanted Sasha to get the COVID shot, and she didn't. She was adamant that she didn't want the COVID shot. And, well, she caught COVID. Or at least that's what's being reported, is that she caught COVID. So here's my thing. If you knew she was sick, or at least thought that there was like the thought that she was going to be sick, I kind of feel like it's kind of fucked up that you, until the minute they walked out, you're literally in the arena are playing the promo package for Sasha versus Bianca, and you fuckers know she's not coming.
Yeah. Imagine that being your favorite person, your kid, you're 12.
Well, Corey, I mean, even for you, you watched WrestleMania.
You're wearing the whole gear. You got the whole kit, and then it doesn't end up playing out that way. Yeah, that'd be very disappointing for sure.
Bro, you watched WrestleMania. What match did you say was your favorite match out of WrestleMania?
The women's match, yeah. Absolutely.
Exactly my point. J-Bone, what were your thoughts on what we saw from the return of Becky Lynch? And first of all, what were your thoughts on us not seeing Sasha? Now, that being said, if Sasha has COVID, shout out to Sasha. Like I said, I don't wish that on anybody. I'm not saying any fault of hers.
Right. Yeah, I thought it was bullshit because, like you said, they're playing the video packages, man. There's people in the seats for certain people, and she's one of them for sure. That match was built
for
up
sure.
Great. And if you knew beforehand, it should have been addressed beforehand. You could have just been mystery opponent, for Bianca that night or something. You didn't have to do it that way because, like you said, you're putting asses in seats for those particular superstars, and for that to happen, like you said, there could be a kid out there, a little young girl that her dream is to see Sasha Banks live, and she flew all the way to Vegas with her parents or something, and that happens. That's a shit feeling, dude. Like I couldn't even. That sucks. The way they did it sucked. I definitely think they could have did it way better than that.
Yeah, you can't help.
Okay,
you can't help if that's the case that somebody is unable to make the event itself.
But what you can help is how WWE handled the situation.
Yeah, exactly. That was my point exactly, is the way that you present it and the fact they could have opened the show with, due to unfortunate circumstances, we're unable to showcase this match. For anybody that was here for that, we apologize. But
yeah, that could have been talked about on the kickoff show. You know what I mean? That could have been addressed somewhere.
Yeah, but yeah, that's definitely a bit of a smack in the face.
And
like I said, especially to the people that are the diehards of the individual athletes and stuff. If you don't,
and the kids love Sasha. Them little girls love Sasha.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I mean, I bet I would have to believe that WWE felt like they had to really come out guns blazing after the way CM Punk went. But then again, I say that, but Vince don't give, like, people don't realize Vince really does live in a bubble. Like, Vince don't give a fuck about AEW and the other ones. He might pay attention to all of them, but he really don't give a fuck.
Isn't his birthday?
What'd you say? Yes. Happy 78 or 76th birthday to Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Damn it. The oldest grapefruits in the game are still kicking.
Yeah. Fuck.
So, like I said, man, I wasn't a big fan of that. Now, how they did it with Becky coming out, I'm not even mad at that. Have her come out, beat up Carmella, but why couldn't you have had her come in and cut a promo and be like, I've been watching you. Yeah. I've been watching you this whole time. I've been seeing the run that you were on, but let's not forget something, sweetheart. I'm the man. You know, in that Irish accent. I'm the man. Yeah. And you still didn't beat the man. And I'm Becky 2 belts, so come get some. And let them have a match. Yeah. And even if she beats Bianca, then you know, we got to see what they do on Friday with SmackDown. That's fair. But the whole thing was just weird because Sasha and Bianca were in the ring with each other 2 weeks ago. So if you were worried that she caught COVID, like, I don't know. The whole thing was just really kind of wonky for me. So with all that being said, what are your overall thoughts on the Becky return? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did the match kill it for you?
Yeah, like I said, I think the whole reason they did the Carmella thing, I think it was like, let's bring everybody down just to get that pop when Becky's music hit. Because the quieter it is with her out there, all the boos, and that pop hits, it's huge, right? But the match itself, like I said, you really took one of your top stars and you fucking shit on her, man. Like, for her to lose that, at least give it a good match. She could, like you said, she could still lose, but have her go out guns blazing, have her go out on a 3.5, you know what I mean? Kick out, like something to show that, like, okay, something's going to happen later with this. You know what I mean? You're building on, so you're just adding logs to that fire. But she came out and hit her with what? 2 moves? Like, it was like a slap and a.
She hit her with 1 move.
Slap and a rock bottom.
1 move, and she pinned her in 5 seconds.
It was done. It was like, oh, okay, well.
Corey, what did I tell you as soon as you and I talked about SummerSlam?
Yeah, that was your low light of the night, which is understandably so.
And what did I specifically said? I love the comeback for Becky. I'm not mad at Becky. I'm mad because they shit on Bianca.
Yeah, but why? Yeah, makes no sense. It really doesn't. Even from an outside perspective, why? Like you said, you could at least build up intrigue, run this match back a couple times, whether it even just be a vote.
At least it's something fresh. Becky's been gone for the better part of a year. She was pregnant. It's something fresh. It's a fresh matchup that's never happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fresh matchup that's never happened ever. And you get to have the first one on WrestleMania and she just fucking creams her.
Dollar signs could have been made. Right? I mean, they had money all over it.
And I mean, now, to be fair, that's not to say that they can't come out on Friday and, really hammer that home. I understand that. But I'm just saying, in the moment, and hearing that from somebody who was watching it out from the TV, that you have the exact same thoughts as I did, I have a feeling a lot of wrestling fans probably had the same thoughts I did.
She don't need the belt yet. Like, the comeback. There's a reason.
Becky is made with or without the belt at this point, because you know the old thing. Well, there's the old saying in wrestling, bro. The belt should make the guy should make the belt. You can't let the belt make the person. Yeah. And Becky is somebody, or I take that back. It's either the belt makes the person or the person makes the belt. In this situation, Becky don't need the belt anymore. Mm-hmm. When she won both of those belts and became the man, she immediately became white hot.
Yeah.
When I almost said Nyla Rose. When we interviewed Nyla Rose, so if you hit subscribe, go check that shit out. But anyways, Nia Jax, when she broke Becky's nose and they had that iconic shot of her looking up with her shit just leaking, she was made.
Yep. That moment.
She was made.
Yep.
She was made. You bring her back, and there's a reason that crowd went apeshit. There is a reason that there was that big of a pop. So, yeah, I definitely had an issue with that. But, okay, one more thing I wanted to ask your opinion on before I get to the 3 big matches. What are your thoughts on them putting RK Bro on the? Were they on the pre-show or were they the first match?
No, it was the opener.
Okay. Then that I'm not so mad at. But man, I just thought RK Bro has been the most entertaining thing on Raw, and what I'm talking about is Matt Riddle and Randy Orton as a tag team. They won the tag team titles over AJ and the Giant Almost, which I ran into Almost and kicked it with him at the hotel for a minute before the big man went to go to sleep. And let me tell you, that's a big son of a bitch.
How tall is he?
That's a big. That guy is a big son of a bitch. We're talking about like 7'3" or 7'4". Like Mega Ran is a big dude. Mega Ran is a big dude.
That was the guy that made his premiere on WrestleMania last year, wasn't it?
Big black guy.
Yeah, the gigantic dude. Yeah.
Yes, and that's the guy I'm talking about standing next to, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy really is this big.
Are they being more active with him now that he's, because I know they had talked about how he is.
He's still got a lot to learn, dude. I think that's why they took the belts off him. But I mean, dude, he couldn't have been cooler. First of all, the guy is cool as fuck. I have nothing but good things to say. I think, I hope he does well, as he progresses through WWE. But dude, that guy's hands engulfed my fucking hand. Like, I mean, I'd like to think that for a smaller guy, I don't have baby hands. And this guy, like, fucking made me feel like that 5-year-old that walks up to go shake your hand and you're just like, damn, this dude is like big. So yeah, we talk about that. So, I mean, like I said, now that I know it was the opening match, like I said, I got there a little bit late. I'm going to watch it back, but I'm happy RK Bro won. I think the right people won that one. I think everybody was waiting to see them come back together. I just hope they don't like turn them into some fucking comedy act now. That's my biggest worry with that is I just hope they don't turn it. I mean, now when I say a comedy act, Matt Riddle's funny as shit. So I'm not saying take the comedy out of it. Just keep it entertaining. Just don't make it kiddie, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Keep it physical, man. You got to keep it physical because that dude, he can go, man. And obviously we know Orton can go. Orton's one of the best in the business. And I think even if they do, which I'm sure they will, they're eventually going to turn on each other. That's going to be one of the top feuds on wrestling.
Oh, dude, Matt Riddle is gonna be one of their stars, bro. Corey, I told you this off the air, and something he said that stuck out when he was on Busted Open the other day. It really stuck out to me, especially from a guy like him who, yes, he's been wrestling for a few years now, but still essentially newer to the wrestling game, at least newer to the main roster. He said, Bubba Ray asked him, what is your mindset when it comes to getting in here with these other guys? And I loved what he said. He said, if they can't work up to my level, then I'm just going to eat them up. That's what I want to hear from a dude like him who's coming up. He said, either get on my level or I'm coming through you. That's what I want to hear, because argue with me that he's not been one of the most entertaining things on Raw for the better part of the last 6 months.
Oh, man, 100%. And what better guy to put him with than Orton? Orton, he's a legend, dude. You know what I mean?
Randy Orton is untouchable. He's got an untouchable resume. And then you've got Matt Riddle, who has the UFC background and, now has won the US title. Now he's got a tag title. I mean, slowly, he won the Intercontinental title too. So, I mean, he's slowly but surely been picking off belts himself.
Right.
I mean, when those guys do go, it's going to be nuts. But I don't even want to get to that yet. Let's see what they do now that they got the straps. Hot damn it. Like I said, RK Bro's been the most entertaining shit on Raw for the last 6 months. I just hope they don't kill it.
Yeah. Let's hope not.
I mean, let's hope not.
Not anytime soon, anyway.
All right. Well, let's talk about something that they hit out of the park. Oh, you hear it. Man, get that little juke going. I was trying to upload the entrance, but my video was too long. But dude, that entrance, that Brood entrance, bro. Everybody had that juke going. Me, Ran, and Derek had it going. We were going back and forth like back in the day, like it used to be, bro. Yeah. Like, dude, that entrance was hard body. Please tell me your thoughts on the Brood entrance.
Dude, on TV, it looked amazing. It was fuck. As soon as I seen the flames and all that shit, I'm like, and
what about the TV, bloodbath on Friday? The precursor to that.
Yes, that was dope.
Oh my God! So Corey, I know you may not have been watching in the '90s and remember the bloodbath, but back in the day, they were like a vampire group, right? That was essentially what they were. Gangrel was the leader. He still to this day has fangs. Like he was like legit living it, right?
Yeah.
When they came to the ring, Gangrel came out with a cup of what was supposed to be blood, and he would spit it out into the crowd every time he'd come out. And then their way of getting back at people is they would bloodbath people, where the lights would go out, and then when the lights come back on, they were covered in blood. So on Friday, Seth Rollins is in the ring, calling Edge out, and Edge doesn't respond. The lights go out. The lights come back on. He's covered in whatever that ooze is, and you've got Edge just laughing on the screen in this evil Edge maniacal laugh.
Yeah.
Dude, it was the perfect precursor. And in the arena, when they were rolling out the platform for him to come out, I looked at Rand. I said, "Holy shit, they're gonna do the Brood entrance! Holy shit, they're gonna do the Brood entrance!" And sure as shit, dude, when that opening. And dude, like, oh my God, dude, that crowd lost its shit.
Yeah.
So that was a great way to start it. And I mean, to be honest, I said it on our preview show. I said off rip, Edge versus Seth Rollins might be one of the matches to steal that whole card. And dude, they fucking delivered. Not that I had any doubt that they were going to, but they fucking delivered.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that match? And do you think that they had a hard road to hoe, being that they just had all that with the Becky thing?
Yeah, yes and no. I think like the way the Becky thing went down, I think that left a sour taste in everybody's mouth. So that kind of like, all right, let's go out there and steal the show because the door's wide open at that point because you just came off that. Like, obviously the crowd was hot for Becky, but the way it happened kind of shifted a little bit. And like you said, man, they delivered, man. And for me personally, that was probably the match of the night. Maybe even the match of the weekend, to be honest.
Wow.
Maybe even
that's big praise, even over the Walter match, huh?
3 that are like
all right
up there. But
all right. Well, I'll let you finish your point, and then I'll leave the floor to you. We'll get through SummerSlam, and then when we get through SummerSlam, I'll let you give your 3.
All right. Yeah.
But yeah, man, that match was great. Seth Rollins, how do I put this? Seth Rollins is one of the best of his generation, period. Don't really know how else to put it. I know that sounds like really high praise, but I mean, from in-ring work to promos to, you got to remember, I mean, this guy was FCW champ. He was the one that broke out from the Shield. You know, you talk about Edge. I mean, he took Edge's blueprint and cashed in on fucking Brock Lesnar to win the title. So, I mean, you got like the next successor, and then you got the guy who, you know, really kind of helped blaze that path for Rollins in Edge. I mean, great fucking match, man. I mean, do you think the right guy won?
Yeah. I don't think it's over, though. I think it's going to go for a long time, and
I hope so. I'm a fan of long feuds, so I hope so.
I am too. And I think it's going to be a different outcome later on, and I think they're going to do it the right way. If you know what I mean.
I agree, and I hope that this could maybe help open up like the darker part for Edge.
Yeah.
You know, that darker side with the Brood, and you know, who knows, you know, I mean, he's already said he's already kind of leaned back into that rated R superstar stuff, but man, for him to come out in that Brood attire, and then listening to Beth Phoenix, who's now his wife, she was like, in 13, when I was 13, I watched them come out to the ring to that Brood entrance, and to be back here 20 years later watching my now husband come out to that Brood entrance gave me chills. So yeah, dude, that match
wrestling nostalgia, man. Like I've been saying, wrestling nostalgia.
They just can't lean on it too much. But this is where, you know, plugging them in with that's where leaning into the, you know, hooking them up with the new guys, though. That's where, you know, you use that star of that old guy to bring up the new guy. And I think Seth Rollins is still kind of that star of this generation. So I'm not mad at that. So like I said, great match. Very well could have stole SummerSlam. Very well could have stole SummerSlam. Like I very well could have been the match of SummerSlam, you know, bar none. From there, we went to Goldberg Lashley. First of all, even though there wasn't pyro for anybody really, I think Goldberg not having that entrance kind of hurt him.
Yeah. What
were your thoughts on it? At home, did you really think well, damn, there's no fireworks. There's he's not breathing in the snorting in the smoke like he always did.
Yeah, it was flat, dude. It was flat. And to be honest, I'm not a big fan of, I'm not saying I'm not a fan of these big stars coming back, but I'm not.
You said you love nostalgia.
I do, but for some reason, I don't like Goldberg, dude.
That's because they've worn out his welcome.
That could be it. What really started when it started to go downhill for me with Goldberg is when he came back and beat Kevin Owens. They shit on Kevin Owens, and from there I was like, man, fuck this dude. And then the way it happened, the way that match happened, I was like, man, okay, they're gonna do the injury thing, so Goldberg really doesn't get beat. So clearly, he's gonna be back again. And it's like, dude, how many times we got to see it, man? I'm just tired.
That's my thing. Why does he gotta? Here's the thing: WWE's had this horrible habit, and it's happened with multiple people lately. And I don't know what the fuck started this trend, or why they thought that it was a good idea to start doing this. But since when did you just get to walk up and say, "Fuck you, I'm taking a title shot"?
Exactly.
In what other sport or business do you just walk up, "Fuck you, I'm taking a title shot"?
No. Yeah.
Look, John Jones been wanting that for how long now, and now we're at an interim title. And you're talking about the pound for pound best for how long? So, yeah.
My point exactly. And every time they brought Goldberg back, he's immediately going into a title picture. You know that. Oh, dude, and that's my thing. And then that he's won like that. And then my thing was, again, I'm a Goldberg fan. I grew up in Goldberg's era. I watched him go 73-0 and just rip motherfuckers in half. Okay, I like Goldberg, but at this point, dude, I feel like they've worn out his welcome because they just keep bringing him back out of nowhere. There's no real reasoning when they bring him back. He just shows up and calls somebody out.
And he's coming back for the same reasons. It's just to go after the belt every time. It's not like he's coming back to settle an old score. It's just going after the champ. And
he looked a little sloppy in that match, in my opinion.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, because at first I thought it was a legit injury when it happened. I was like, oh shit, because I'm used to seeing Goldberg matches go 2 minutes to 5 minutes, and I'm like, okay, he's going a little longer. And then that happened. I'm like, oh shit, they fucked up. But then, reading into it and seeing it again, I'm like, okay, they're just making it to where he still looks strong, but he's not getting.
Well, dude, now I mean Lashley choked out Goldberg's kid, so it can't be over yet.
He's coming back. We got to deal with that again.
I think the right guy won, but I just am tired of seeing the stuff with Goldberg. But
I think that was just them trying to get Lashley a bit more respect out there, and like the.
I think so too. But again, see that right there is a perfect example, though, right? Like if you're gonna bring him back, I would rather see it in a situation like that where he's putting over your surging champion, or like in an Edge's case where you're helping like the star of your generation, like Seth Rollins,
Yeah.
Like what CM Punk said. CM Punk obviously is gonna, at some point I would imagine be in the world title picture there. But he said that he wants to help AEW's roster as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's my thought on that. The next thing I got on here, now we're to the main event. Roman versus Cena. Now, first of all, you got to give respect where respect is due. John Cena, the roof still blew off that place when Cena came out. Plain and simple.
I mean, as it should, though. He was.
I agree. I think we're finally at a point that Cena's finally getting the respect he deserves. Because for a long time, it was like the cool thing to chant John Cena sucks. But I think everybody respects John Cena because now that John Cena's gone and not there every week, I think people finally realize his value and what he was bringing on a consistent basis.
If people are taking the time to chant that he sucks, that means that he has enough emotion in people to invoke something.
He struck a chord.
Yeah, which is always a good thing. Especially like legends and stuff like that. People that end up like kind of not like running the game, I guess you could say, but
they transcend the business.
They end up in hindsight looking better than they do in current, I guess you can say. When you're living through the era of the John Cenas and stuff like that, you're like, oh, this guy's good, but he's just another one. But it's like after the 10-year mark or something of their career, it's like, oh no, actually, like he put up like a lot of legendary moments that wrestling fans still look back to. And I feel like that's where, like in hindsight, a lot of these, whether it be fighters or wrestlers or whatever the case be, it's you look back on their career a lot brighter than you do while it's actually happening, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yep. And he ran a whole era pretty much. Shit. Yeah. 2 eras almost, because it was John Cena all the time. So you can't. And
that's the thing. I think they burned him out, but I think once he was gone, wrestling fans really, because I mean, dude, when we talk about a guy like Randy Orton, dude, the shit between Cena and Orton, come on, dude.
One of the classic rivalries in wrestling, dude, right there.
Come on, dude. Cena versus Orton, or Cena versus, I mean, dude, look at the Cena versus The Rock shit.
Yeah.
The promo battle between those two was fucking epic.
Yeah.
You Fruity Pebbles, bitch! I mean, hey, I'm just saying, you Fruity Pebbles looking bitch!
They planned a WrestleMania main event a year out for that, man. So that,
right. When you can go a year out of time, Corey, we're talking like Hogan Andre type shit. They booked Hogan Andre a year out. They booked Cena Rock a year out, or Cena Rock 2 a year out.
It's got to be done right though, because like that's one thing I've.
And it was.
It was.
I'm saying I've also seen that backfire where they book something too far in advance. By the time the event comes, a lot of people don't even realize. Like, I feel like it's getting a bit of that with the whole Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley fight for this weekend. I feel like a lot of people are not realizing that that's actually taking place this weekend. They're like, oh, is it sometime next month in September or something like? No, that shit's this weekend. Like, so I feel like it's kind of a two-edged sword, whether you release the date like a 5 weeks out, like a month and a half out, or whether you do it the full year, get the full build. I feel like wrestling fans are more acclimated or used to dealing with the large buildups like that, where maybe other realms of combat sports not as much. But do go on.
All right, so about the match, man, what were your thoughts on Cena versus Roman? Because I mean, I would argue that they did exactly what they needed to do. I mean, people can bitch as much as they want, but Cena had everybody in that fucking arena believing he was about to win that shit.
Yeah. I thought
when he hit the FU off the second rope, tell me you didn't think that motherfucker was winning.
I thought it was going down, dude. I thought he was about to break the record, and like, oh shit. It was like there was points in the match. I'm like, all right, he's not gonna win. And I was like, oh shit, he might pull this off. Okay, he's gonna win, and then it didn't happen. I'm like, it had you then that's what wrestling's all about, right? Grab your emotion, bring you back and forth, false finishes, all that shit. They did their job on the biggest stage of the summer, dude, and I think they did it right. They did it the right way. And props to Roman Reigns, because this ain't the same Roman Reigns that we've been seeing that was
hell no
everybody's throat and everybody booed him. This is a completely different Roman Reigns, dude. A better Roman Reigns.
Talking about missionary on TV and all kinds of things. Yeah, man. It's a wild time. Like I said, it was a great match. I think Roman won. I hope that we can get it down the road somewhere, because, I mean, that's another news story to talk about, in that John Cena announced this morning on Twitter, dude. I mean, he's not doing any of his further WWE dates. He was supposed to be on the Madison Square Garden show. He's not on that show anymore. He was supposed to be on SmackDown this week. He's not. He was supposed to be on SmackDown. He's not going to be on SmackDown because his movie roles have gotten in the way. So I hope after that at least wrestling fans can look and appreciate what we got while we got it with John Cena, because I think John Cena is on the same trajectory that we saw The Rock. Now, if he gets to The Rock's standpoint, I don't know, but I think in the very near future, we might not be able to see John Cena for much longer, so appreciate it while you got it, I feel like.
Yeah, agreed. Definitely.
All right, well, I'm not going to go all the way through NXT. We went through SmackDown. We went through all that. Like I said, Corey, in my opinion, that match between Dragunov and Walter, you have the Peacock app on your Xbox. I'm logged into that shit. Please, before Thursday, watch that match. You could even come over and I'll watch it with you. But I'm telling you, I need you to watch that, because I want your opinion come Thursday, because like I said, that by far was one of the bro. Let me put it this way. You will not watch that match and wonder if the shit was real or fake. Yeah. You will not. If you do, you're fucking blind.
I heard somebody say last week was with the overrun on Dragunov losing the nipple from the chest.
Yes! I tried to tell you. What was the over-under? And both of those motherfuckers probably lost a nipple. Dude, I mean, his chest looked like hamburger meat, and his stitches got busted open.
Yeah, right on his eye.
Them boys were banging, and he choked the shit out of Walter.
Yeah, you're gonna
choke
like
the shit out of him. No, I mean, he's a 300-pound man, and he picked him up in a rear naked choke and yanked this man up. Like, I mean, I'm sure Walter maybe might have helped him a little bit, but fuck, like, dude, that guy is just insanely strong.
Yes.
Shout out to Ilya Dragunov. And Corey, to lay a little bit of background, Walter has been UK champion for over 2 years.
Yeah.
He had 870-day reign.
Yeah, 870 days.
870 fucking days.
Almost at that 1,000 mark. If they couldn't give him another 2
yeah, they could have let him. They should have let him.
But that's what I'm saying. So for him to win, dude, and them to run that back, that's that storytelling, bro. Because he lost to Walter, and then went and fought his way back through and just beat the shit out of everybody until they left no choice but for these guys to meet again. And man, did they not deliver?
Oh, dude, that was just imagine a car when you describe matches and they say this one was a car crash. It's a good term, because this one was like a fucking car crash, dude. Physical from start to finish. You're just like, what the fuck? Like,
my opinion, match of the night. But I just thought about it. I'm wrong and remiss for not bringing this up, especially with Corey on the show. I need to know your opinion on this too. But I don't know, man. If CM Punk didn't have the biggest pop of the weekend, I would say the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar, did. Brock with the man bun.
Yeah,
Brock coming back with the man bun.
I seen a meme
coming back
earlier.
with the ponytail.
I don't know what
you guys who are watching. What are your thoughts on Brock Lesnar with a fucking ponytail?
I seen a meme earlier today that said, I don't know what's scarier, Brock's man bun or the fact that he's happy Brock and still scares the shit out of me because he's smiling and shit. You would ever see Brock Lesnar smiling. He's a scary motherfucker when he smiles. It's fucking weird. But
I mean, that guy gets happy about violence. So usually if he's smiling, it's probably not a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought that was great, man. I think bringing him back, it was needed. I think what it longevity wise, we're still building Roman. Like I said, it's a different Roman Reigns. And I think somehow, I don't know if that's going to be at Extreme Rules or maybe they can prolong that all the way to Survivor Series, which I would like to see. That story with Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns, and Brock, dude, is going to play out something special.
Dude, that's going to be the meat on the.
Yeah, I think that Roman, we're still building, like I said, we're still building Roman for whatever the big match is. And he's going to be knocking these guys down. He's going to get through Brock.
Oh, dude, it's going to be Roman versus Brock is the big match, dude. I mean, they're not going to fight. If you think they're going to fight like in the next month.
Yeah.
Like
I would hope if it's going to happen soon, it's got to be like Survivor Series.
I would say probably Survivor Series, but I don't think that that'll be their only match either. Because here's the thing. This is when WWE is good. This is when WWE is good. And here's why. Because the meat that's on that bone. Paul Heyman has been with Brock Lesnar since the day he stepped foot in WWE. A lot of people don't know that Paul Heyman has been with Brock even when Brock was outside of WWE.
Yes.
Ding dong. Yeah. Number one, you always hear the mark of a great manager like a Paul Ellering for the Road Warriors, man. He was their manager inside and outside the ring. Paul Heyman has helped Brock Lesnar with a lot of things inside and outside the ring. So now for him to be on the opposite side of the ring of Brock Lesnar like he was when he was with the Big Show again, but I think there's a lot more intrigue to what's going on with this with Roman and Brock because I think in this one people legitimately don't know who the fuck's going to win.
Yeah. And we still
I can't pick a winner right now.
We still don't know where Paul Heyman stands yet. We still don't know.
You don't know where Paul Heyman stands.
And that
you
could also
really
be played out.
Right. That's why this is such a big thing. And then after the cameras went off the air, Brock Lesnar beat the shit out of John Cena. Yeah. Suplexed this sumbitch like 2-3 times, F5'd him. He put John Cena down if that's going to be the last time we're going to see John Cena for a little bit.
That was a
Brock gave him a dirt nap on the way out. So, yeah, dude. I definitely was a big fan of that. Corey, what are your thoughts on the return of the Beast?
Well, I pose your question with a question. Do you guys put Brock Lesnar on like your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers?
Of all time, no.
No. Okay. I hold
biggest box office. Yes.
I hold him in a very, very high regard, just because of the simple fact he was able to transfer into a completely different sport, whether he had a wrestling background or not, whether he was, national champion or not, whether he was whatever you want to put accolades wise, whether he was juiced, whatever you want to put on him. The fact that he came into the UFC, beat legitimate, notable heavyweights, held onto their belt, fought like the who's who of the heavyweight division at the time and was competitive as hell, and then also was still able to hold the grasp of the wrestling world that he was, come back and then dominate that world in the same fashion that he was prior to. I hold him in high regard when it comes to the wrestling world. I really do. As somebody who's not like a huge wrestling fan, I do put him up there on that top 4, top 5 list for that simple reason. So for him to come back, I feel like maybe he should have took another year or two. Like we're talking
year or two. I mean, you gotta realize how old the man is, Corey.
No. But what I'm saying is he just left the organization a year and a half ago or something. I feel like it didn't give enough time to lead into the anticipation in my thoughts. I feel like how you had noted with like the year-long story and stuff, I feel like in this case it should have been maybe a 3-year story before he came back to wrestling and was trying to compete at the top again. But that being said, it's Brock fucking Lesnar. He deserved the spot. I hold him in high regard, so to see him come back, it's deserved.
All right, so to answer your question, J-Bone, I'll let you answer that first. Where do you put Brock at?
Brock, like as in like my Mount Rushmore? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, he says he's putting a Mount Rushmore. What are your overall thoughts on the legacy of Brock Lesnar?
Man, on the legacy of Brock, he's correct on all that. There's not a lot of guys that can transcend from WWE to UFC like he did and be successful. So in that regard,
even to the NFL,
in the NFL, all that.
Like, he made in the NFL, like that was a big thing on SportsCenter.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, in that regards, like you said, blockbuster wise, you got to put him in the top 5. You have to. You don't really have a choice. But for me, wrestling wise, he's not in my top 10. I wouldn't even put him there.
And I'm glad you said that. So for me, to answer your question, Corey, to quantify that, do I put him on my Mount Rushmore? Kyle always said that I hate giving lists, so I'll tell you who, if I was going to do a Mount Rushmore, who it's got to be. Number 1 on my Mount Rushmore is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Okay. He's the biggest. He made the most box office money anybody ever made, and anybody that wants to argue that can kiss my ass. Number 2 is Ric Flair. I mean, it's undeniable. I would argue that he may be the greatest world champion ever. That's number 2. I would say The Rock has to be on there because The Rock was the first one to really transcend wrestling and be that big of a star in wrestling that people wanted to see him in movies. And then he went to movies and then killed that and then came back to wrestling and still was able to go like he was then before. So that would be number 3. There's 5 spots, correct? On Mount Rushmore?
I believe so. Don't quote me on national history here because I'm not the greatest.
So if we're going 5 spots, so there's 3. For impact on the Undertaker, Hulk Hogan. So it is 4 spots. Okay, so if it's 4 spots, then I would say Hulk Hogan gets my 4th spot, and then the honorable mention would go to the Undertaker. And I'll explain. Austin, number 1, is the number 1 draw, period. He made more money on merch and pay-per-view sales and all that, and the reason why wrestling took off in the 90s was because of him. And that was the hottest period they ever had. So that's it. The Rock, same, like I said, that would be it for him. Ric Flair, greatest world champion of all time, in my opinion. The Undertaker is the greatest character of all time. There will never be another character who has the mystique. Like you said, Corey, for you being somebody who even fell out of wrestling, you still knew the mystique of him winning at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
That streak was the greatest thing in wrestling and will never be duplicated again. And the reason I say Hulk Hogan is when most people think wrestling, who do they think of? I'm not saying Hulk Hogan hasn't done a lot to damage his legacy, but Hulk Hogan in the 80s and a Rock and Wrestling Rager, the Rock and Wrestling Connection with MTV and Cyndi Lauper and all that shit, you have that. You don't have that. I don't think we're talking. So I'll just throw that out there. So no, Brock isn't on there. But if we're talking about box office, I mean, he's got to be one of the best businessmen to ever be in wrestling. I mean, he cleared $12 million and was only on TV how many times last year?
Does WWE release their pay-per-view numbers and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they? Okay, so it is like public record. You could look up like highest sold pay-per-views and stuff like that. Okay. I'd be curious.
All of that can all be.
I'd be curious where he ranks on that number.
Yeah, so that's where we're going with that. I won't go all the way into NXT. We still got our show Thursday. Hell, maybe I'll bring J-Bone back on Thursday. We'll talk a little. We'll talk a little bit of NXT and MMA.
Thursday's my birthday, so that'd be a good birthday present right there. So.
Oh shit.
Well, shit. Maybe we'll have to talk about that. So before we get out of here, like I said, SummerSlam was an overall blast. The after SummerSlam festivities were even more of a blast. And yeah, man. Shout out to Nerd Bar. If you're ever in Vegas, go to the fucking Nerd Bar. And shout out to Johnny. Oh my God, Stone Cold's beer is awesome. If you haven't tried it, just saying. Yeah, Stone Cold's beer is awesome. We were out there with the likes of Sabu and Joey Janela and Ali Catch. Clay Guida was in that bitch, fresh off of his fight. Hell, his mom and dad were out in the bar with us and shit. The Juice, Juventud Guerrera, was in the building with us. The Juice was in that bitch. Marty the Moth was in there. I mean, Nerd Bar was on the poppin'. Willie Mack, talk about dropping stunners. Willie Mack was in the building. Medusa was in the building with us. Yeah, dude. Nerd Bar.
You couldn't have happened to have went at a more combat-oriented weekend in Vegas. Yeah. I mean, you had Manny Pacquiao, Ugas, you had the UFC event, and also SummerSlam all in one weekend, all in the same place. So I imagine the turn-up was probably pretty crazy out there.
Dude, put it this way, Corey. You're always complaining that I never go out and drink. I told you I was up from 5 a.m. till 5 a.m. Vegas time. Yeah. I was up from 5 a.m. Nashville time. And I didn't go to bed till 5 a.m. Vegas time.
I haven't so you do the old 24 since I was working midnights. I used to have to be a regular occurrence working midnights, but I do not miss those days. Do not miss those days.
Stinger splash! I survived. Shout out to Mega Ran. He was trying to kill me, but yeah, dude. It was dude, I had such a good time in Vegas. Again, we got to talk a little bit more about it on Thursday. I made my way down to Extreme Couture while I was down there. I was helping the little guitar hero, Ben Janes, son of our homie Justin Janes, who bet it all on himself in the UFC. I was helping him get ready for Naga next weekend. Go fuck him up in Minnesota, Ben, or wherever Naga you're competing in. Kick their ass. But yeah, man, I got to go to Extreme Couture. I mean, dude, Cynthia Cavillo was in there. Cody was in there. Kevin Lee was in there. I got to talk to Gil Grotto, which, hey, just so you guys know, I'm cooking up something real nice with Gil Grotto, excuse me, he not only competed in Josh Barnett's Bloodsport, but he may or may not be the coach for one, I don't know, a guy you might know, J Bone. I don't know, this scrub named John Moxley. Ring a bell. John Moxley was in there training too when I was in Extreme Couture. It was, like I said, man, it was star-studded in that bitch. There's a lot still to talk about come Thursday. We talked about SummerSlam. We talked about Darius Estell doing his damn thing. August 28th, he's going to knock out Joe Gianetti from the Ultimate Fighter. We going to fight in Cage Titans. We going to Boston, and he's probably going to ride out of that bitch like Paul Revere. Make sure you're checking it out. I'll post a link on all of our social medias at KO3C Pod. And, hey, before I get out of here, one more time, man, let them know where they can find the J-Bone Show and what the fuck they got to expect.
Hey, man, you can find me on any podcast streaming services, the J-Bone Show, jboneshow.com. If you ever want to listen to some shit in the car, at your home, wherever you're doing it, man, turn that shit up. Turn it all the way up because you're going to get the best music around. Promise you that. Hey, and I could be your DJ, too. If you guys ever need a DJ guy in the background, you ever need a third man to your NWO, you call me, man. I'm there.
I mean, I was rocking an NWO shirt too, and hey, it was like me and Woods were coordinating because I don't know if you peeped the NWO Scott Hall gear. Yeah, I had that. Too sweet. That's right. This episode was too sweet. But like I said, we're gonna be back at it this Thursday. What'd you say?
Mysterio's gear too. Rey Mysterio's gear was a shout out to Macho Man. I dig that. That was
dope. Yeah, dig it. Hey, man, like I said, it was a good time. We still got a lot more to come this Thursday. Like I said, Corey's going to fucking Chicago for CM Punk shit. We got to talk a little bit more about that. There's fights to talk about this weekend. We'll talk a little bit more about the Jake Paul stuff, and I will get a little bit more into my trip from Vegas. We appreciate you guys checking us out. Shout out to J-Bone and the J-Bone Show. And until next time and in the in-between time, be careful with that Broken Skull IPA, bro. Peace.